The great hall of the Galactic Senate buzzed with excitement. Hundreds of alien beings filled the massive chamber, their strange forms creating a colorful display under the bright lights. Some had multiple arms, others had skin that changed colors, and a few floated in the air without touching the ground. Today was special. Today they would talk about the newest species to discover. Faster-than-light travel. Commander Vexhai stood at the center of the hall. His tall, blue-skinned form commanded attention as he activated the holographic display. The image that appeared made many aliens laugh out loud. It showed a small blue planet spinning slowly in space. "Fellow beings of the galaxy," Vexhai said with a voice that dripped with amusement, "I present to you the humans of Earth." More laughter filled the hall as images of human cities appeared. The aliens pointed at the primitive buildings and roads. Some shook their heads in disbelief at what they saw. "Look at their transportation," said Ambassador Thalos, a crystal-like being whose body sparkled in the light. "They still use wheels. Can you imagine such backwardness?" The hologram changed to show human rockets launching into space. The aliens found this even more funny. Their own ships could cross galaxies in days, while humans needed months just to reach their own moon. "They burn chemicals to move through space," Vexhai continued, trying not to laugh. "Their fastest ships move slower than our cargo vessels. It would take them thousands of years to reach the nearest star system." A green-skinned alien with 4 eyes stood up. "What about their weapons? Do they at least have energy shields or plasma cannons?" Vexhai smiled and changed the display again. Now it showed human soldiers carrying metal projectile weapons. The aliens gasped in mock surprise. "They throw small pieces of metal at each other," Vexhai announced. "They have not even discovered basic energy weapons. Their most powerful explosives are still based on chemical reactions." The laughter grew louder. Some aliens slapped their knees, tentacles, or whatever they used for hands. Others made sounds that served as their version of giggling. "But surely they must be peaceful," suggested a floating alien with a voice like singing bells. "Perhaps their primitive nature makes them wise?" The hologram shifted to show images of human wars. Tanks rolled across battlefields. Planes dropped bombs on cities. Soldiers fought in trenches filled with mud and blood. "They fight each other constantly," Vexhai explained. "They war over small pieces of land, over different beliefs, even over access to water and food. In the past century alone, they've had 2 massive global wars that killed millions." An alien that looked like a giant insect clicked its mandibles. "How do they survive as a species with such violence?" "They breed quickly," Dallas answered. "Like most primitive life forms, they make up for their weakness with numbers." The Senate erupted in more laughter. Even the usually serious diplomatic corps seemed amused by humanity's apparent foolishness. Vexhai raised one of his 4 arms for silence. "The question before us today is simple. How should we classify these humans according to our standard procedures?" A red-skinned alien with scales spoke up. "Clearly, they are Category 7, primitive warlike species. The same classification we give to civilizations that usually destroy themselves within a few hundred years." Nods and various forms of agreement filled the hall. The aliens had seen this pattern before. Young species that discovered space travel often went through a violent phase before either growing wise or wiping themselves out completely. "I agree," said Thalos. "But I suggest we place monitoring satellites around their solar system. Not for their protection, of course, but for our entertainment." This suggestion brought the biggest laugh yet. Several aliens applauded the idea. "Think of it," Thalos continued. "We could create a viewing channel. The Human Comedy Hour, where civilized beings can watch these primitives stumble toward their inevitable doom." "Excellent idea," Vexhai agreed. "All in favor of classifying humans as Category 7 and establishing entertainment monitoring." Every alien in the chamber raised their hands, tentacles, claws, or other appendages in approval. The vote was unanimous. "Motion passed," announced the Senate Speaker, an ancient being whose species had achieved space travel when the galaxy was young. "Monitoring satellites will be deployed within one standard cycle." As the aliens filed out of the chamber, they continued to joke about the humans. They shared stories of other primitive species they had encountered. Most had indeed destroyed themselves through war, disease, or environmental collapse. "How long do you think the humans will last?" asked a young diplomat with purple skin. 200 years at most," replied her older companion. "Did you see how they pollute their own planet? They will poison themselves long before they learn wisdom." None of the aliens noticed the small anomaly in their monitoring systems. Deep in the Senate building's computer networks, something had been watching and recording their entire meeting. The presence was so subtle, so carefully hidden, that it passed through their most advanced security systems without triggering a single alarm. 3 weeks later, a fleet of automated satellites launched toward the human solar system. The aliens expected to find exactly what their previous observations had shown: a primitive species struggling with basic space travel, completely unaware that they were being watched by superior civilizations. The satellites took their positions around Earth's solar system and began transmitting data back to the galactic community. Everything appeared normal. Human ships moved slowly between their planets using chemical rockets. Their space stations were simple metal structures that spun to create artificial gravity. The monitoring systems detected no defensive installations beyond Earth's atmosphere. No patrol ships guarded the outer planets. No advanced sensors swept space for intruders. To all appearances, humanity remained completely ignorant of the galactic community's existence. The aliens settled in to watch what they expected would be a slow but entertaining decline. They had no idea that in the darkness between stars, something was watching them back. Something that had been learning, planning, and preparing from the moment the first alien signal reached Earth. The galaxy's greatest predators had just made the mistake of underestimating their newest prey. 3 years had passed since the aliens placed their monitoring satellites around Earth's solar system. The initial excitement in the galactic community had faded into mild boredom. The humans were still fighting small wars, still using primitive technology, and still seemed completely unaware that anyone was watching them. Commander Vex High sat in his office reviewing the daily reports from the human solar system. The data was disappointingly routine. Chemical rocket launches, simple radio communications between planets, and the usual human conflicts over territory and resources. "Sir," his assistant entered the room, carrying a datapad. "The latest audience ratings for the human comedy channel." Vex High looked at the numbers and frowned. "Viewership is down by 60% from last year. Are the humans becoming too boring, even for entertainment?" "It appears so, sir. Most viewers say the humans are too predictable. They want more dramatic conflicts or technological breakthroughs." Vex High sighed. "Well, perhaps we should consider more direct contact. A few frightening appearances might spice up their behavior for our viewers." Meanwhile, thousands of light years away on Earth, Dr. Elena Vasquez worked deep underground in a facility that officially did not exist. The Atacama Desert facility was built inside a natural cave system, hidden from satellites and protected by layers of advanced shielding. Elena stared at multiple screens, showing alien communications intercepts. Her team of 30 specialists had been working around the clock for 3 years, slowly piecing together the galactic languages and learning about the civilizations that watched them. "Doctor," called James Park, her chief linguist, "we have another batch of decoded transmissions from the Korthany Empire." Elena walked over to his workstation. "What did you find?" James pointed to the translated text on his screen. They are discussing sending a task force to Earth for what they call a cultural survey. According to their communications, it is really just an excuse to gather more entertainment footage. Entertainment footage? Elena asked, though she already knew the answer would anger her. They wanted to cloak their ships near Earth to scare our population, then record our reactions to broadcast across the galaxy. They think human fear will be amusing to their audiences. Elena felt her jaw tighten. For 3 years, she had read similar communications. The galactic community saw humanity as nothing more than a source of amusement. They laughed at human wars, mocked human technology, and waited for humanity to destroy itself for their viewing pleasure. Any word from the stealth reconnaissance missions? Elena asked. Mission 7 returned yesterday, James replied. Captain Torres confirmed that the alien monitoring stations have major blind spots in their sensor coverage. They are designed to watch Earth, not to detect approaching ships from specific angles. Elena nodded. The information matched what her teams had discovered about alien technology. For all their advancement, the galactic community had grown complacent. They relied heavily on their superiority and rarely expected to be challenged. What about Project Mirror? She asked. James smiled for the first time in days. Dr. Chun reports full success. The quantum field manipulators are working perfectly. Our test ships can achieve complete invisibility to all known alien sensor types. Elena allowed herself a small moment of satisfaction. Project Mirror had been humanity's top priority since first detecting the alien satellites. By studying alien sensor technology and understanding how they detected objects in space, human scientists had developed cloaking systems that made their ships completely invisible. And our language programs? We now have full translation capabilities for 12 major galactic languages, James answered. Our infiltration specialists can communicate fluently with most alien species. Elena thought about the infiltration missions. Small teams of humans had been secretly visiting alien worlds for over a year. They used the cloaking technology to remain undetected while gathering intelligence on alien military capabilities, political structures, and technological weaknesses. The aliens had made a critical mistake. They assumed that because humans use primitive technology, humans were primitive thinkers. They never considered that humanity might be deliberately hiding their true capabilities while learning everything about their watchers. Doctor, another technician called out. We are receiving a priority transmission from Admiral Brooks. Elena walked to the secure communication terminal. Admiral Sarah Brooks appeared on the screen, her face serious but determined. Elena, I have news from the Joint Chiefs. The President has approved Operation Revelation. We are moving to the next phase. Elena had been expecting this moment for months. Are you sure we are ready? Our intelligence is complete, Admiral Brooks replied. We know their military strengths, their political divisions, and their technological limitations. More importantly, we know they still believe we are primitives who pose no threat. What about the incoming Corthany task force? Perfect timing. We will use their cultural survey as our opportunity to reveal ourselves. Let them come expecting to frighten primitive humans. Instead, they will find a civilization that has been watching them since day one. Elena felt a mix of excitement and fear. For 3 years, humanity had lived in secret, building their strength while pretending to be weak. Now they would finally show the galaxy what humans were really capable of. How many ships will we have ready? Elena asked. The entire stealth fleet, Admiral Brooks answered. 47 vessels equipped with full cloaking systems, quantum sensors, and defensive capabilities that exceed anything in the alien databases we have accessed. Elena thought about those databases. Human infiltration teams had accessed military computers on dozens of alien worlds. They had stolen technical specifications, tactical plans, and even recordings of classified government meetings. The galactic community had no idea how completely they had been penetrated. The Courtney admiral leading the task force is named Crextel, Admiral Brooks continued. According to our intelligence, he plans to decloak his ships directly over Earth's major cities during daylight hours for maximum psychological impact. He will get his psychological impact, Elena said grimly. Just not the kind he expects. Admiral Brooks smiled. Elena, your team has done incredible work. The intelligence you have gathered will give us every advantage we need. The aliens think they are coming to frighten primitives. Instead, they will learn that the primitives have been watching them all along. After the communication ended, Elena looked around at her team. These men and women had sacrificed everything to prepare humanity for this moment. They had worked in secret while their families believed they were dead or missing. They had decoded alien languages, mapped alien territories, and learned the weaknesses of civilizations that thought themselves superior. James, Elena said, send a message to all stealth reconnaissance teams. Tell them to prepare for full revelation protocols. Yes, Doctor. Should we inform the alien monitoring satellites? Elena smiled coldly. No, let them keep watching their primitive humans. They will learn the truth soon enough. Above them, alien satellites continue to monitor Earth, detecting nothing unusual. The watchers remained completely unaware that they themselves were being watched by the very primitives they mocked. Admiral Crextel stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the small blue planet grow larger on the viewing screen. His task force of 12 Courtney warships moved through the human solar system with confidence. The mission was simple: appear suddenly over Earth, frighten the primitive humans, and record their terrified reactions for galactic entertainment. Admiral, his tactical officer, reported, "We have reached the designated position. All ships are ready to decloak on your command." Crextel nodded with satisfaction. The human solar system was exactly as their monitoring satellites had shown. Primitive space stations orbited the planet like metal toys. A few slow chemical rockets moved between the inner planets. There were no defensive platforms, no patrol ships, nothing to suggest the humans even knew they had visitors. Very good, Crextel said. Have all ships target the major population centers. We want maximum visual impact when we appear. The bridge crew worked quickly to coordinate with the other vessels. Their ships would appear simultaneously over 12 human cities during daylight hours. The psychological effect would be devastating for such a primitive species. Sir, the communications officer called out, should we prepare the standard first contact protocols? Crextel laughed. No need. This is not first contact. This is entertainment. We will appear, record their panic, and leave. The humans are not ready for actual communication with their superiors. What Admiral Crextel did not know was that every move his fleet made was being tracked by sensors he could not detect, hidden throughout the solar system. Human observation posts recorded the alien ship's positions, weapon status, and communication frequencies. Captain Sarah Chun stood in the command center of the UES Invisible Hand, humanity's most advanced stealth cruiser. Around her, dozens of technicians monitored the approaching alien fleet while coordinating with other hidden human vessels. Captain, her tactical officer reported, all stealth ships are in position. The alien fleet is completely surrounded. Sarah looked at the holographic display showing the positions of both fleets. 47 human ships formed a perfect sphere around the 12 alien vessels. The aliens had no idea they were trapped. What about their weapon systems? Sarah asked. Active but not locked onto any targets. They appear to be treating this as a routine intimidation mission, not a combat operation. Sarah nodded. The intelligence reports had been accurate. The Courtney expected no resistance from primitive humans. They were here to put on a show, not to fight a battle. "Captain," the communications officer said, "we are receiving the alien fleet's final approach communications. They are preparing to decloak in 30 seconds. "Perfect timing," Sarah replied. "Signal all ships. Prepare for simultaneous revelation." Admiral Crextall counted down the final seconds. 10, 9, 8. He said, watching the tactical display. His ships were positioned perfectly over Earth's major cities. 3, 2, 1. Execute. The 12 Corthony warships suddenly appeared in Earth's sky, their dark hulls gleaming in the sunlight. The ships were massive, each one larger than the primitive space stations the humans had built. Their weapon systems glowed with threatening energy. "Excellent," Crextall said, watching his ships appear on the tactical display. "Begin recording human population reactions. This should provide entertainment for months." But before his crew could respond, something impossible happened. The tactical display suddenly filled with new contacts. Dozens of ships appeared around the Corthony fleet, their sleek forms materializing from empty space. "What is this?" Crextall demanded, staring at the display in shock. Where did these ships come from? His tactical officer worked frantically at his console. "Sir, I am detecting 47 unknown vessels. They appear to have been cloaked using some form of advanced stealth technology." "That is impossible," Crextall shouted. "The humans do not have cloaking technology. Our intelligence reports show they cannot even build proper energy shields. The unknown ships were unlike anything in the galactic databases. They had angular, predatory designs that looked both alien and strangely familiar. Their hulls seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, giving them an ominous appearance." "Sir," the communications officer called out, his voice shaking, "we are receiving a transmission from the unknown fleet. They are broadcasting on our military frequency using perfect Corthony language." "Put it on screen," Crextall ordered. Though his voice had lost its earlier confidence, the main viewing screen changed to show a human female in a military uniform. Her expression was calm and professional, but her eyes held a cold intelligence that made Crextall uncomfortable. "Attention Corthony vessels," the human said in flawless Corthony. "This is Captain Sarah Chun of the United Earth Space Force. You are currently trespassing in human territorial space without permission." Crextall felt his blood turn cold. Not only were the humans speaking his language perfectly, but they somehow knew exactly who was and where he came from. Captain Chun continued speaking. "You have 30 seconds to power down your weapon systems and prepare to be escorted out of this star system. Any hostile action will be met with appropriate defensive measures." "This is Admiral Crextall of the Corthony Empire," he finally managed to say. "You are making a serious mistake. Your species is classified as primitive. You cannot possibly threaten ships of the Imperial Navy." Captain Chun's expression did not change. "Admiral, your ships are currently surrounded by 47 stealth cruisers, equipped with quantum torpedoes and adaptive shielding systems. Each of our vessels outguns your flagship by a factor of 3. You are not in a position to make threats." Crextall looked at his tactical officer, who nodded grimly. The readings were clear. The human ships were emitting energy signatures that exceeded anything in the Corthony arsenal. "How is this possible?" Crextall demanded. "Our monitoring satellites have watched your species for 3 years. You still use chemical rockets. You fight with projectile weapons. Your monitoring satellites have been under our observation since the day you placed them," Captain Chen replied. "We have been watching you watch us, Admiral. We know about your entertainment channel. We know about your comedy viewing parties. We know exactly what your species thinks of humanity." The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. If the humans had been watching their monitoring satellites, what else had they been watching? "Impossible?" Crextall whispered. Your species does not have the technology for interstellar surveillance. Captain Chun smiled, and it was not a pleasant expression. Admiral, you made a critical error. You confused primitive tools with primitive minds. While you were laughing at our rockets, you failed to notice the strategic intelligence behind our wars. While you mocked our projectile weapons, you missed the precision with which we use them. More human ships began to decloak throughout the solar system. They appeared near alien monitoring satellites, around space stations, and in the outer regions where the Courtney fleet had entered the system. Every move your fleet has made since entering our space has been tracked and recorded, Captain Chung continued. We've been preparing for this moment since we first detected your presence. The question now is whether you leave peacefully or learn firsthand why humans have never stopped fighting. Admiral Krextol realized with growing horror that his fleet was completely outmatched. The species his people had mocked as primitive had somehow achieved technological superiority while maintaining the appearance of backwardness. What do you want? He asked, his voice barely audible. We want respect, Captain Chun replied. We want to be treated as equals in this galaxy, not as entertainment for bored aliens. Most importantly, we want you to deliver a message to your Galactic Senate. What message? Captain Chun leaned forward, her eyes never leaving Krexteel's face. Tell them the humans are no longer hiding. The silence on Admiral Krexteel's bridge stretched for long seconds. Every alien crew member stared at the human ships surrounding them, trying to understand how their supposedly primitive targets had become their captors. Admiral, Krexteel's communications officer said quietly, the human captain is requesting permission to send additional data to our ship. Krexteel nodded slowly. He needed to understand how completely they had been fooled. Accept the transmission. Captain Sarah Chun's image remained on the main screen, while new information appeared on secondary displays around the bridge. What the Courtney crew saw made. Their worst fears seemed small in comparison. The first image showed detailed technical specifications of Courtney military vessels. Every system, every weapon, every piece of technology was documented with precision that exceeded what many Courtney engineers knew about their own ships. Where did you obtain this information? Krexteel demanded. From your own databases, Admiral, Captain Chun replied calmly. Human reconnaissance teams have been conducting covert operations throughout galactic space for the past 2 years. The display changed to show security footage from inside Courtney military facilities. Human figures moved through alien corridors, their forms barely visible even when the recordings were enhanced. They accessed computer terminals, downloaded classified information, and disappeared without triggering a single alarm. This is impossible, Krexteel's tactical officer whispered. Our security systems are designed to detect any unknown life form. Your security systems are designed to detect known alien species, Captain Chung corrected. They were never programmed to identify humans because you believed we were too primitive to reach your worlds. More footage appeared. This time, it showed human operatives inside the Galactic Senate chambers during closed meetings. The recordings were so clear that Krexteel could read the expressions on senators' faces as they discussed humanity's eventual self-destruction. You have been inside the Senate itself? Krexteel asked in horror. We have been everywhere, Admiral. Our cloaking technology does not just hide ships. It can make individual humans invisible to your sensors. We have walked through your government buildings, your military bases, and your research facilities while your people planned our destruction. The display changed again, showing a map of galactic space marked with hundreds of red dots. Each dot represented a location where humans had conducted surveillance missions. Every major civilization in the galaxy has been penetrated, Captain Chun explained. We know your military capabilities, your political weaknesses, your economic structures, and your deepest secrets. The crystalline beings of Hegemony Prime have a civil war brewing in their outer colonies. The floating entities of Cerealia are facing economic collapse due to resource mismanagement. The insectoid hive worlds are planning territorial expansion into neutral space. Krextel felt sick as he realized the implications. If humans knew about classified military operations and hidden political crises throughout the galaxy, they possessed information that could destabilize entire civilizations. Why? He asked. Why reveal this to me now? Because your species was planning to use us for entertainment, Captain Chen replied, her voice hardening. We intercepted communications about your cultural survey mission. You came here to frighten innocent civilians and broadcast their terror across the galaxy for amusement. The display showed recordings of alien communications discussing the entertainment value of human suffering. Krextal recognized some of the voices, including his own. We could have destroyed your fleet the moment you entered our space, Captain Chen continued. Our weapons technology is decades ahead of anything the galactic community possesses. We could have eliminated any alien civilization at any time over the past 2 years. Then why did you not? Krextal asked. Because we are not like you, Captain Chen answered. We do not find entertainment in the suffering of others. We do not mock species we consider inferior. When we discovered the galactic community, we chose to learn and understand rather than attack and conquer. Admiral Krextal looked at his crew and saw the same fear in their eyes that he felt. Humanity had achieved something that should have been impossible. They had become the most powerful species in the galaxy while convincing everyone they were primitives. How did you advance so quickly? He asked. 3 years ago, you were using chemical rockets. We still use chemical rockets, Captain Chen replied with a slight smile. For operations where we want to be seen. Our real technology has been hidden from the beginning. She gestured to something off-screen, and the display changed to show human research facilities that existed in deep space. Far from Earth, the facilities were massive, containing laboratories and manufacturing plants that could produce advanced technology on an industrial scale. While you were watching Earth, we were building our real infrastructure in locations your monitoring satellites never detected. Every time you saw a primitive rocket launch, you missed the cloaked vessels that launched alongside them. Krextal realized with growing horror that humanity's entire visible space program had been an elaborate deception. While aliens watched humans struggle with basic orbital mechanics, real human ships had been crossing interstellar space. But how did you develop cloaking technology that surpasses our own? Krextal's chief engineer asked. We studied yours first, Captain Chen replied. Human infiltration teams observed your cloaking systems in operation, analyzed their weaknesses, and developed superior alternatives. Our quantum field manipulation technology does not just bend light around objects. It removes them from normal space-time temporarily. The implications struck Krextal like a physical blow. Human ships could become truly invisible, not just to sensors but to reality itself. Your monitoring satellites detected nothing because there was literally nothing to detect when our ships were cloaked, Captain Chen explained. We could have placed a battle fleet in Earth orbit, and your sensors would have shown empty space. What do you intend to do with us? Krextal asked, though he dreaded the answer. You are going to return to Zentari Prime, Captain Chen said. You will deliver a message to the Galactic Senate. You will tell them that humanity requests formal diplomatic recognition and equal treatment within the galactic community. And if the Senate refuses? Captain Chen's expression became deadly serious. Then they will learn that the species they mocked for entertainment has become something they should fear. We know their weaknesses, their secrets, and their capabilities. We have the power to protect ourselves and the wisdom to choose peace. But if forced to choose between submission and war, We will show the galaxy why humans have never stopped fighting. The display changed one final time, showing footage from inside the Galactic Senate building. The images were recent, taken within the past few days. Human operatives moved through the most secure areas of galactic government while alien leaders remained completely unaware. This footage was recorded yesterday, Captain Chun said. Our people are still there, still watching, still listening. The galactic community has no secrets from humanity anymore. Admiral Kreckstall understood the message clearly. Humanity was offering peace, but they were negotiating from a position of absolute strength. They could continue their hidden surveillance indefinitely, or they could reveal themselves as equals. We will deliver your message, Kreckstall said finally. Thank you, Admiral. Admiral, your ships are free to leave our space. We suggest you do not return unless invited. As the human fleet began to fade back into invisibility, Kreckstall realized that everything had changed. The galaxy's greatest predators had been hiding in plain sight, and now they were ready to claim their place among the stars. The Great Hall of the Galactic Senate was quieter than it had been in centuries. Where once hundreds of alien beings had gathered in noisy discussion, now only whispered conversations filled the vast chamber. The news from Admiral Kreckstall had spread through the galactic community like wildfire, and fear had replaced the usual confident arrogance of the assembled representatives. Commander Vexhai stood at his usual position, but his tall blue form no longer commanded the room with authority. His hands shook slightly as he reviewed Admiral Kreckstall's report for the 100th time. The evidence is undeniable, Vexhai announced to the silent assembly. Humanity has achieved technological superiority while maintaining the appearance of primitive development. Their cloaking capabilities exceed anything in our databases. Ambassador Thalos, the crystal being who had once laughed loudest at human backwardness, spoke with a voice that trembled like breaking glass. How many of our facilities have been compromised? How much classified information do they possess? A green-skinned alien raised 4 arms in distress. If they could infiltrate the Senate building itself, nowhere is safe. They could have access to every government secret in the galaxy. The paranoia had been growing for days as each species reviewed their security systems and found them wanting. Military bases reported strange energy signatures that their sensors had previously ignored. Government buildings discovered gaps in their surveillance recordings that nobody had noticed. Research facilities found evidence of data access that should have been impossible. We must consider immediate military action, declared a scaled red alien from the warrior caste. If humans pose this level of threat, we should strike before they become stronger. Before anyone could respond to this suggestion, something impossible happened. The air in the center of the Senate chamber began to shimmer, and a human figure materialized from what had appeared to be empty space. Captain Sarah Chun stood calmly in the middle of the galactic government's most secure building. Wearing her crisp military uniform and an expression of polite determination, her sudden appearance sent waves of panic through the assembled aliens. Security alert! Someone shouted, but the chamber's defensive systems showed no intrusion. To their sensors, nothing had changed. Honored representatives of the Galactic Senate, Captain Chun said, her voice carrying clearly through the vast hall without any amplification system. I bring greetings from the United Earth government. Commander Vexhai stared at her in shock. How did you get inside this building? This chamber is protected by 17 different security systems. The same way we have been getting inside your buildings for the past 2 years, Captain Chun replied. You designed your security to stop known threats. You never considered unknown ones. She gestured to the air around her, and more human figures began to materialize throughout the chamber. Dozens of them appeared near alien representatives, behind security stations, and even on the Senate's highest platform where only the most senior officials were allowed. For 3 years, you have watched humanity like we were animals in a zoo. Captain Chen continued as aliens throughout the hall retreated from the appearing humans. You laughed at our wars, mocked our technology, and waited for us to destroy ourselves for your entertainment. Ambassador Thelis found her voice despite her fear. You have violated our sovereignty. This is an act of war. No, Captain Chen replied calmly. This is an act of communication. For 2 years, we've tried to establish peaceful contact through normal diplomatic channels. Our messages were ignored because you considered us too primitive to deserve responses. A floating alien with a bell-like voice spoke up. If you wanted peaceful contact, why the deception? Why hide your true capabilities? Captain Chen smiled, but it was not a warm expression. Because we learned what you really thought of us. We monitored your entertainment channels. We heard your jokes about human stupidity. We watched you place bets on how quickly we would extinct ourselves. The truth of her words hit the assembled aliens like a physical force. Many of them had indeed participated in the human comedy hour, finding amusement in what they believed was a doomed species struggling toward destruction. We discovered that honesty would not serve us well with civilizations that saw other species as entertainment. Captain Chung continued. So we chose to let you maintain your illusions while we prepared for the day when we could speak as equals. Commander Vesai attempted to regain control of the situation. What do you want from us? What are humanity's demands? We want what every civilized species deserves, Captain Chen replied. Recognition, respect, and equal treatment within the galactic community. We want to trade knowledge, share discoveries, and work together to explore the universe. And if we refuse? Asked the red-scaled warrior. Captain Chun's expression became serious. Then you will learn that the species you underestimated has become something you should have feared from the beginning. We know the location of every military base in your territories. We have detailed maps of your defensive systems. We understand your weaknesses better than you do. She paused to let that sink in before continuing. But we do not want fear. We want friendship. We offer you a choice that you never offered us. The Senate Speaker, an ancient being whose species had achieved space travel millennia ago, spoke for the first time since the humans appeared. What choice do you offer? Join us as equals, Captain Chen replied. Or continue to treat us as primitives and face the consequences of your arrogance. To demonstrate her point, she activated a holographic projector that appeared from nowhere. The device showed real-time images from inside government buildings throughout galactic space. Human operatives could be seen working at computer terminals, accessing classified databases, and moving freely through areas that were supposed to be impenetrable. This is happening right now, Captain Chen explained. On every major world in the galaxy, our people are gathering information. We could cripple your governments, crash your economies, or reveal your secrets to your enemies. But we will not do these things if you choose cooperation over confrontation. The aliens stared at the images in horror. Some recognized their own facilities and saw humans walking through areas that no unauthorized being should have been able to enter. You could have destroyed us years ago, the ancient Senate Speaker observed. Why choose mercy? Captain Chun's expression softened slightly. Because despite what you believe about us, humans are not monsters. We fight when we must, but we prefer to build rather than destroy. We learned about your civilizations not to conquer them, but to understand them. She gestured again, and the holographic display changed to show technical specifications and scientific discoveries that human researchers had developed during their hidden advancement. We offer to share our cloaking technology, our quantum field manipulation systems, and our gravitational engineering discoveries. We can teach you to build ships that travel faster than anything currently possible. We can show you how to generate unlimited clean energy and how to terraform dead worlds into gardens." The offer sent murmurs of excitement through the assembly. The technologies Captain Chen described would revolutionize galactic civilization. "In exchange," she continued, "we ask only for respect and equal treatment. We want to be partners in exploration, not subjects for your entertainment." Commander Vexhai looked around the chamber at his fellow representatives. The choice was clear. They could continue to treat humanity as primitives and face the consequences of their advanced capabilities, or they could accept them as equals and benefit from their knowledge. "The Senate will consider your proposal," he said formally. "Thank you," Captain Chun replied. "But understand that this is not a negotiation. This is us informing you of how things will be from now on. The age of galactic civilizations, treating other species as inferior, has ended." She looked around the chamber one final time. "We are no longer hiding. We are no longer pretending to be primitive. We are here. We are powerful, and we are choosing peace. Make sure you choose it as well." With that, Captain Chun and all the other humans faded from visibility, leaving the aliens alone with the knowledge that everything had changed forever. 3 months later, Dr. Elena Vasquez stood in the same chamber, but now she wore the formal robes of Earth's first official ambassador to the Galactic Senate. The chamber was full again, but the atmosphere was different. Where once there had been arrogant superiority, now there was respectful cooperation. Humanity had taken its place among the stars not through conquest, but through the demonstration of strength tempered by wisdom. The species that had been mocked for their primitive wars had shown the galaxy that true civilization meant choosing peace when you had the power to choose war. And in the darkness between stars, human ships maintained their silent watch, ensuring that the lesson would never be forgotten.